It's Mark Smith with Family Tree Brand Life Coaches, and here we are, another live stream show from the beach. Let me get situated here a little bit. So, welcome everybody. I've got a few items to cover, and then we'll open it up to questions. Again, if you have questions, then write the word in capital letters "question" in front of the question. 2 weeks ago, when Jerry did the show, I think there was some maybe a couple that were dueling and being reactive, and that's why the questions came off as a little bit of a sense of urgency stuff going on. But let's not do that tonight, and we'll get a productive and fun live stream show where we get a lot of work done. So let me check in and just say life's pretty friggin' awesome. Had a lot of joy lately, a lot of focus, a lot of creativity, a lot of self-care. It was 72 and sunny on the beach yesterday, where I've spent most of my day. And I've got this new Chinese restaurant to eat at where I'm doing this low carb thing. And I go and I get all kinds of amazing low carb food for like really inexpensive. And then I went to the beach all day, and then I went to the gym. That's a good day. Another thing I wanted to mention was, if you're studying psychopathy and you want a good picture of the devil himself, there's this show called Dirty John. Are y'all tuned in? I'm gonna tune in my thing here. I don't see any questions coming forth or any hellos. I'm normally seeing hellos. Say hi to me. Okay. Maybe I'm just missing them. Oh, everybody is saying hi to me. I just didn't. Soren says, Mark, my brother from another mother. Strato Harry too says, greetings from Spain. Gotta dig that. Nerd Incognito Sue also, she's from Canada. So, who's got the wrench tonight? We need somebody with a wrench in case things get out of hand like they did. I know Renda. I don't know if Renda has clients or if she'll be on hand. Sumit, hey brother. Jillian, Sarah, Kathleen say hi, great Mark Smith. I don't know if the great Mark Smith's here. Sarah's saying hi from Cuyahoga County. So, but anyway, if you want to learn more about psychopathy, this Dirty John is some wicked stuff, man. It stars Eric Banta, he was the original Hulk, and he just plays the worst psychopath I've ever seen played. Smooth and Chunky's in the house. Jillian asked about my neighbor. I made a part 2, Jillian. So no, I haven't heard from the neighbor, but there was some good conversation Dirty John is the only place you can get it right now is on Apple iTunes. It's not on HBO. It's not on Netflix. Dirty John is based on a real story, and he wasn't just a scumbag. He was way beyond that. One of the things that it showed was every time he got involved with a professional, he controlled the professional, he manipulated the professional, he used their services, and then he made threats against their licenses and sued them so he didn't have to pay them. I've run into a couple people like that. Okay, we got a question. How do people deal with disappointing or angering other people? I worked 12 hours a day last week because of a client being in crisis, and I had to ignore other clients, and they are upset now. Well, there's nothing wrong with your clients being upset. In a way, she had, reason to be upset. The fella, my narcissistic neighbor, he had reason to be upset. My dogs barked and woke him up, and he couldn't get back to sleep. He had to go to work. He had reasons to be upset. It's just, what do you do when you are upset? We have a neighbor in our other home, and the dogs pestered her, and she's been assertive, kind, gentle, respectful, articulate. Hi, Steve Bevins. And so if you did sort of step back from your clients, apologize, own that you had an emergency, say you're sorry, and with some of them, if you need to make up some time, then do that. But it's okay that they're angry. Now, if they treat you with disrespect, then that's a whole nother thing. Hi, Liberty. How you doing? Okay, so Dirty John. Hey, I'm speaking in 2 more online conferences. One is like the other one. It was through, I think it's called Avea. I may not be saying it right. But I've been sending out the link. You know what? Let me find the link, and I'll put it on this right here. So I might be a little distracted for just a moment. But I'll find the link and to this conference. I am going to be speaking on March the 5th, and I'm going to be speaking on managing abandonment issues through recovery. Okay, so here is the link. There are 30 speakers at this conference, and I speak on March the 5th. I wasn't the keynote speaker, oddly enough. Let's see, there's Terry Real. I've heard of him, and the topics, you can tell these people really know recovery. Shelley Bullard, Brian Piesner, Rihanna Milne, Sherry Gaba, Alana Pratt, Candice Vandell, Abby Blakesley and Ian McNaughton, Sharon Martin, Valerie Mason-John, Candice Plattor, Stacy Brookman, Mark Smith, Michelle Ferris, Terry Real is speaking again. Debbie Sibler, Dr. Elizabeth Mouth and Freddie Zentel Weaver, Michelle Chalifant, Catherine Winter, Sue Marriott and Ann Kelly, Yong Kang Chang, Ela Rivera Walter, Lori and Bob Hollander, Dr. Dawn, Elise Snipes, and Mr. Jerry Wise is speaking on March the 12th. Linda and Charlie Bloom and Jana Fisher, Christine Askew, John Amato, Ann Blythe, and Samantha Ruth. Those are all the speakers. So me and Jerry are both speaking. I'm speaking day 5. Jerry's speaking, or March 5th. Jerry's speaking March 12th. So here, let me find you guys again. Here is the link. And it's free. You don't have to pay anything. And you can hear all of those speakers for free. So, yeah, lots of speakers. Soren got into nursing school. It starts in the fall of 2019. Congratulations. Brenda's here and she brought her wrench. So that's cool. The other conference I'm speaking at is it's a woman, I believe you say her name, Zephy Jala, but she's from Australia and she's a former attorney. She's the one who recommended Dirty John to me, and I'm doing the recording on February the 28th, but the conference is in April. But there's only 5 speakers at that conference, and the topic is dealing with narcissists in the court system. And so Dirty John was a great example of a masterful manipulator of the court system. Okay. So the other thing I want to say is I got lots of videos lately. I've been not having to work too much, and I've had lots of free time on my hand, and I've been inspired a lot. So there's the 2 videos on dealing with the neighborhood narcissist. I've got, I went to my Chinese restaurant and I found a fortune cookie, and it says pain breaks the shell of your understanding. And it turned out to be a quote from Jahil Gibran. I don't know if I'm saying it right. He's the number 3 selling poet in the history of the world. So it was all about breaking your shell and finding understanding. I made a video. It's sort of our signature video for our local counseling practice about Family Tree Counseling Associates. And I made a video that if any of you have been in trouble, you know how sometimes you have complex PTSD and you end up getting in trouble because somebody came along with a gas can and a match and lit you on fire. You may not act the nicest and the sweetest and the kindest. And so if we get in trouble, so I made a video about how do you deal with it? How do you handle it with wisdom and accountability and not being overcome with shame. So anyway, that's all the topics I've had to announce. So I'll throw it open to questions for anybody who have. You guys like my hat? This is my favorite South Carolina hat. it just reminds me of being in South Carolina. I added a couple pictures in the background. You see the picture of the moon? There's a funny story with that. That's a moon here at Myrtle Beach, and I thought I took it. And I did take a picture of the moon, but it wasn't this one. And I actually paid and put it on canvas for several of my family members. But the truth is, Renda took that picture. But pretty cool picture. Yeah, Renda is on fire. She is really individuating, and she's doing lots of marketing for her YouTube channel and her website and her company called Renspire. And she's just having fun, and she's less codependent with me. And so Renda and I are really prospering and thriving because we're being interdependent. So Renda's right here in South Carolina in the other room. Jennifer has a question. She says, I'm healing, but I still wake up with a hole in my chest. It's so painful. I force myself to sleep. Does it go away? Well, first of all, Jennifer, I want you to go back and locate one of my videos, the 50 symptoms of narcissistic abuse syndrome, and it'll talk about pain in your chest. And Jennifer, the pain does go away. When I was newly shattered, the best and most effective treatment for my pain was massage therapy. And every time the massage therapist touched my chest, I would start to weep uncontrollably, and I would weep uncontrollably for an hour and a half all through the massage. And I'm not saying you need to use massage. You just need to treat your PTSD. And I have lots of videos. We have a playlist on healing your PTSD. But you have to live a very disciplined lifestyle where you eat right, you exercise often, you do meditation. Hopefully you're able to do massage. You might need some medication. You need talk therapy. You need to journal, do some yoga. You got to do these things, Jennifer, in order to heal. Because one of the videos I made, I said, the wound is in the living tissue of your body. So you really have to look back a bit. Look over here. Let me move this over. So when I'm looking at my questions, I'm looking at the camera. And that way it will work a little bit better. That better? Okay. We got another question from Strato Harry 2. Can you recommend for us some movies about codependency or narcissism? Watch Star is Born Today. It is a decent portrayal about alcoholism. Yes, we have an entire playlist on movies about narcissistic abuse. The other night, Renda and I tried to watch Mommy Dearest, and it just became unpleasant and triggering, so we turned it off. I like to learn about issues in narcissism, but I don't want to be tortured through a movie. But yeah, there's a whole playlist of where I actually give a movie review on probably 30, 35 movies. So just go to this channel and look for movies about narcissistic abuse. You'll find all kinds of movies that are really good on that subjects. Reiki, Betty says, do Reiki to treat yourself. Anonymous was talking about when you buy it, it sends a link to 2 free books, and that page doesn't exist. Which book are you talking about? Hey Mark, you need to update your ebooks. I bought Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. I want to check out the links, but none of them work. That's a long story, Anonymous. We have 2 websites, and for some reason one keeps crashing. I'm not going to get a chance to go through and update all those links. I mentioned the title when there was a link. I think I mentioned the title. Just Google the title. But unfortunately, with all I got on my plate right now, I'm not going to be able to edit all the links to Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. When we first had it come out, every link worked, but that was like 6-7 years ago. So sorry about that, but just look up the links on YouTube and you'll be able to watch all the links. My wife says Reiki is a healing technique based on the principle that the therapist can channel energy into the client by means of touch to activate natural healing processes in the client's body and restore their physical and emotional well-being. So, well, thank you for the comments about my book on abandonment. I've written 6 books, but I've probably sold, I don't know how many. I've sold many thousands of the abandonment book, but add all the other books up and probably equals what I've I sell on this one book, just because there's not a lot of good books written on abandonment issues. And I think that's the one I put the most energy and time into. So, all right, I need my some more questions, or I'm gonna get out the rubber chicken and have the rubber chicken moan and groan. Nerd Incognito Sue says the only things that controlled her complex PTSD was meditation and yoga. No, not the chicken. Angel123 says, after doing inner child healing and EMDR, it changed my life. I've learned along with God, I'm my advocate, I'm my protector, I'm my best friend. And Mark, I love your saying, your power is in your feet. So I'm getting cold here. I'm going to turn Fernando, the rubber chicken. I'm going to turn my fan off here. So let me stand up and do that. Getting a little chilly. So, Betty has a question. My son-in-law, I texted him to ask him if he likes the cookies. I didn't hear back from him. I didn't see a question in that. So I'll be like a lawyer. Is there a question in there somewhere? Betty. Soren, question. What do you do when you feel physically and emotionally exhausted? I feel like these last 2 weeks have wrecked my soul. Well, I think we recovery people and we therapists are sometimes oblivious to the obvious. If we are exhausted, we might meditate or exercise. What you need to do is go rest. Take a nap. Pay attention to what your body's doing. And then also, you just, it's your body's telling you that you're working too much. So, when you're exhausted, quit over giving and get lots of rest. And Jilligan says, get yourself a blow up hot tub. She got a Coleman blow up hot tub and she loves it. Puts it on the back porch. Nerd Incognito Sue has a question. It's been 4 years since her shattering anniversary is approaching, as is mine. In May, mine's in April, but she's having surges of awful dread out of the blue. Is this normal? It is normal. One of my videos was called something to the effect of dread, anxiety. I forget the exact name of it, but look that up. It's basically when look up the word dread and Mark Smith in videos and you'll find it. But yeah, there's a sense of really bad stuff happened to me, and at any moment really bad stuff can happen again. I'll try to look that video up for you. I thought it was one of the more betterest videos that I ever made, but I'm not sure how many people really got it, because if you don't have this experience of narcissistic dread, you may not know what it is. I'm coming close to it here. But here it is. It's a video that I made called Predatory Harm Anxiety. And when did I make that? When did I make it? It doesn't say. Predatory harm anxiety. But look that up. It shows a woman sort of walking through a dark woods, but that's a common feeling of bad stuff has happened and the other shoe's going to drop at any moment. Okay, another question from Anonymous. It's artistic related. She's a writer, and it's so hard. It's so much work, and I'm suffering. No motivation because there's zero chance of anyone will ever see my book. And I feel discouraged because it seems like your work was all for nothing. What do you do? Here's a quote. I'm going to look away here. Books are not brought into creation like babies, they're made like pyramids. There's some long pondered plan, and then there are great blocks of stone are placed one atop another, and it's back-breaking, sweaty, time-consuming work. That's Gustav Flaubert. Says, you want to write a book, you got to want it. I'm considering writing a novel, sort of like Dirty John, except it's going to be Dirty Betsy. I'm not going to call it that. But yeah, I share that. I know if I write a book on therapy that thousands of people are going to read it, but if I write a novel, I might sink 2 years of my life in it and, have 1,000 people write it. But, if you're a writer, you just write. Here's I got another thing over here to read you. 12 rules of writing. If you write every day, you get better at writing every day. If it's boring to you, then it's going to be boring to the reader. Get a writing routine and stick with it. Poetry does not have to friggin' rhyme, by the way. And not have to, poetry doesn't have to rhyme, poetry doesn't have to rhyme. Resist stereotypes in real life in your writing. Writers read. I probably listen to 10 or 12, 13, 14 books a month on my cell phone. I'm constantly reading in that way. Writers read all the time. Make sure that your favorite words in books and places and things or things you write about, there doesn't always have to be a moral to the story. Always bring your notebook. Always bring a spare pen. What I do, this isn't my real phone. My phone's in the shop. I got a pink covered shell and a little tiny phone because my phone's in the shop. But I have Evernote on it. If I'm sitting at the beach and I start having the universe talk to me, I start writing the script to a video. And I've also I'm starting to write a script to a novel. So, number 10, go for walks, dance, pull weeds, do the dishes, and then write about it. Don't settle on just one style. Try something new. I'm going to stand up here and read the rest of it. Learn to tell both sides of the story and stop looking at this poster and write something. So there you go, Anonymous. There's your pep talk about writing. Anonymous says, Flaubert had that right. My husband was an award-winning novelist and had good luck writing, or she said, good luck writing yours. I worked on his books and he worked on mine. So cool, you want to write. I'd read it. So I'll at least sell one book. But my idea is to write the story, sort of my story, but not make it a therapy book, make it a novel. Then I could switch it up and add some cool extra stuff. But I would start it with being born and coming out and screaming bloody murder because I was induced and my mama's not around. I've already got a title to the book. It's called Purple Bruises. We'll see. Betty's a writer, but never did write a book. She took a creative writing class, and it really helped to complement her gift. Tanya says, I take photos and write a poem about each of the photos. That sounds fun. You know, every time I make a video, I look at it as a piece of art. Because I want to make words dance. And maybe I'll write poetry. But the fun part is finding the cover photo to match it to where it's like really cool. New Eyes has a question. After shattering and narcissistic abuse, the people and places I once frequented give me a lot of cognitive dissonance. And it makes me feel almost like two people. I guess that's normal. Of course it's normal. It isn't really cognitive dissonance when you go to those places. It's a panic attack. And it's an awful thing. It's an awful thing. The narcissists I was involved with, there's certain restaurants, Buffalo Wild Wings. What's that burger joint? There's an upscale burger joint that she would go to. But there's a hotel I know that she had sex at. There's just creepy stuff that I go by anytime anybody says the word Arkansas. So it's just being re-triggered is what it is. So yeah, it's normal. It takes time. I'm almost 4 years in, and I still have triggers very frequently. They just don't hurt as bad. Jennifer, where'd you go? I have a dream to write. I went to school for it, but I got in a car accident and had TBI. My whole world was turned upside down. I wish I could write like I did. I'm happy you get to do it. It isn't so much that I get to do it, is I make myself do it. The 6 books that I wrote, I worked my ass off on. It's so easy to make these videos, and I think they reach more people faster for free. But I do want to write that novel. But this past 3 weeks, I start processing in my head. I whip out my phone. I get on Evernote, and the universe dictates a script. I can write the words to a video, record it, pick a picture to put on it, and publish it in less than an hour. And it can go on and get tens of thousands of views. We live in an amazing world and an amazing age with amazing technology. Patty wants to write poetry. Well, go ahead on and write it. Bring your poetry and share it with us. Kay Colby says, call it violent entry or violet entry. Purple bruises is too sweet. Part of the reason I call it purple is because I would cry as an infant until I turned purple. And through these past 4 years, my bruises that were purple, just as purple as they were when I was an infant, purple and black, eventually they turned green and black and brown and yellow, and now most of the time I don't think you can even see or feel the bruises on my psyche. But they're still there, but they ain't purple anymore. Sarah, you could put some of your poems on here. Gilligan, bruises of many colors. It's like the coat of many colors. I'm going to start singing. If y'all don't come up with more questions. Hear, O Lord, the sound of my cry. Hear, O Lord, and have mercy. My soul is longing for closeness with you. Oh, hear, O Lord, and answer me. I sang that when I was a boy. When I was a little altar boy, when I was 10, and that's where that song came from. And every now and again, I'll be driving down the road, and I'll get to singing that. Got a question. When is it time to move away from the family of origin? Is there a threshold to such thing? Soren, that's too big of a question. Every family of origin is different. There isn't a when or a how. Just find a good therapist and work it out within yourself. But that's not a question we can answer in this setting. It just depends on the situation, because there's lots of ways to back away from a family. Anonymous, it's sad that it takes our whole lives to get well from these wounds from narcissistic parents. Geez, here we are, we're 50 and 60 and just getting halfway normal. I'll be 60 years old in 4 months. And you know what? It is what it is. I wouldn't have picked my parents. I would have picked somebody else if I could. But here's the meaning of life. I'm gonna break down the meaning of life for y'all. The meaning of life is, you get what you get from your parents. And your challenge is to figure out who you are, where you came from, and heal as much as you can. And then pass on a whole lot less craziness and dysfunction to the next generation. And in the meantime, as you're healing, to locate as much safety and joy and fulfillment and self-actualization as you possibly can. There you go, meaning of life. Hey, thanks about the good voice thing. I can't sing too many songs, but that's one that I just love to sing. Say, I don't look 59. Well, thank you. I never did get the question about the cookies. You got to give me an actual question. Rocket Man. Hey, Rocket Man. My man. Great video you did a few days ago. I think it was titled, "Your Pain is the Breaking of a Shell that Encloses Your Understanding." Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. As long as that understanding is enclosed, you can't get at it. So it's good to be broken, and then you get to have understanding into who you are and where you came from and what you're all about. So I feel super blessed to be almost 60 and had a chance to heal tremendously due to the narcissistic abuse. One of the best things that ever happened to me was the narcissistic abuse. The worst thing that ever happened to me was the narcissistic abuse. Both statements are true. Jilligan has plenty of questions, but she thinks they're too big. We'll break those rascals down, and we'll do them in smaller chunks. Regina Smith says, "Hi, Mark Smith." Hi, Regina Smith. One of the Smith family. All the questions are coming in so fast, it's hard to, or all the comments are coming in so fast, it's hard to stay up with them. Betty, I don't know how to handle where I don't get thanks from him and his family who are wealthy and have big attitudes. That's still not a question, but I'll go ahead and respond. Here's the thing, folks. When people do things to hurt you, don't pay it no never mind. Narcissists love it when you dance their dance and they play the music. I don't know if you guys knew it, but Renda and I were horrifically the butt ends of a smear campaign from a diabolical, just total fucking psychopath who she literally made 300 or 400 videos on 6 or 7 channels that were vile and sick and untrue, and we just ignored it. Didn't say a thing. Didn't respond. We did contact Facebook and have them take some of that down, but I slept like a baby. Um, Not all people can. When you're the neighbor who yelled at me and called me stupid and told me to move away and told me nobody liked me, slept like a baby. Didn't bother me at all. It just made me all the more determined to live there right in his space and be happy. So somebody doesn't thank you for cookies, let it go. You know, if you're close to them and they're a safe person, you could say, "Hey, you know, can I be authentic with you?" It sort of hurt my feelings. I made the world's greatest cookies the other day, and I spent 4 hours making them, and I gave them to you, and then you didn't thank me. It sort of hurt my feelings. With safe people, that's cool. But with a narcissist, just don't make any more fucking cookies. Rocket Man, he says, I've not yet come to the point where I can say that my narcissistic abuse was the best thing. We shall see. No, I'm not saying it's the best thing. Well, I did just say it. What I meant by that was the healing. I've healed more in 3 3/4 years than I did in 55 years. No, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. It almost killed me. It was a total fucking nightmare. But now I'm happier than I've ever been. So I'm grateful that I went through this horrific experience. What it is life gives you make you some lemonade. You know, life gave me, a narcissistic mother and a wounded Mr. Nice Guy codependent father, 6 siblings, a little infant sister who died under my care, sexual abuse, poverty, stepfather who was a rager and who molested my sisters, a bad experience in high school where a kid actually accidentally drowned and I was blamed for it even though I didn't do anything wrong. So I experienced all those things, but it's formed me into the person that I am. Of course, the worst thing that I experienced was not bonding with my mother and being left out in the yard to cry until I turned violet. So, no, I'm not saying that the narcissistic abuse was the best thing. I'm saying it just gives you an opportunity to heal. And when I first went through it, I wasn't very grateful for the opportunity to heal. I was just trying to survive from day to day because, I had narcissistic abuse from 4 or 5 different directions. You know what? I whipped all the asses over time. And you can too. You can too. Sarah says, now I'm loved by hundreds of people. Is that to me? Well, I love hundreds of people back. So, Anonymous says, I'm trying to do life like that. My life has left me without any close relationships at all. I have the lemons to write, and I have time. I'm trying to. This takes time. This takes time. I'm just now sneaking up on 4 years. I'm just now turning the corner where instead of bruising and predatory, dread and all kinds of pain from all kinds of different direction, I get up every day excited and happy and with a swagger in my step and a smile on my face. And it's just it's the power of recovery, man. It works. Jackie in the house. What up? I'm gonna get the chicken out pretty soon. I'm tired. What time is it? Let me see here. It's 9:20, but we started about 20 minutes late. There's Ginger. Ginger says, I finally get to join this live chat tonight. Ginger saying that she's loving all my new videos. Thank you. Thank you. There's questions back in the thread. When a fella does this, here's a question. Soren says, how do you not allow those things to affect you, Mark? I feel like when people are mean to me, it knocks me out for a while. How do you build yourself up to that level? Well, trust me, Soren, the first 2 years of my recovery, it took a gust of wind to knock me over. And bullies could come by and hurt my feelings pretty easily. But you just keep on crying and meditating and doing your therapy and listening to books and exercising and meditating some more and praying and crying some more and doing some more therapy, and you start lifting weights and you start to get strong. And then somebody comes along and they try to fuck with you, and they done fucked with the wrong person. Not that you get nasty, not that you get mean, but you just know that the power that's in you is way yonder more powerful than the power that knucklehead has. So just keep doing your work, Soren, and you'll get stronger. And it's been fun. I almost like it when people try to fuck with me because I know I'm going to win. And I know that I'm going to come out of it smelling like a rose, and they're going to come out of it looking bad. Strato Harry 2, Mark, I feel very close to healing, which is awesome, but now I am quite aware of dysfunction in others. So to me, the downside of healing is that I'll feel alone. No, there's lots of people who are healing. Now, if you mean alone in a relationship, if like you get healthy, yeah, you're not gonna fall in love with a healthy person. You're gonna fall in love with a flawed and broken person. You just got to fall in love with somebody who's capable of doing the work. And when they can do the work, they can get healthy with you. But it's good to be aware of dysfunction in others, because then you can protect yourself. This Dirty John, this woman was so codependent. I just wanted to shake her because she put her family in danger, and she never really grew a spine enough. So praying is also something really good. Oh, excuse me. Betty says, I like, Mark, your swearing attitude. I swear when I'm triggered. Jilligan says, you've been through some serious doo-doo. Um, uh, uh, Music 3. I know it's not for everyone, but it kind of is. I'm thankful for this channel for helping me. I've grown so much. I pray for all you. God bless. Anonymous says, I'm trying to do that. My life has left me without any close relationships. I think I read that already. Okay, any other questions? Sue Nerd Incognito says, I swear a lot, but I'm still a lady. Sarah said, watching the story, I think you mean Dirty John, just said, hell no. Hell no, that's not going to happen to me. Jilligan says, Mark, get a doggy door for Mr. Polly. That way he can go out and potty and then go back inside away from your crazy neighbor. It'd be hard because it's a sliding glass door to the back. And again, whenever our dogs are in the backyard, Renda and I are there and we're paying attention to them. And if they start barking, we go out and we try to settle them down. The problem wasn't the dog barking. The problem was the king baby narcissist got woken up. You know what? What I want to tell him is, if you want complete silence, go build a house on 5 acres, bitch. I mean, if you're going to live in a neighborhood and your bedroom's going to be 15 yards away from somebody's backyard, you're going to get woke up by a dog barking. Or, he might have somebody working on his house and I'll get woken up. It happens. It just comes down to, I think what happened was he was used to having that place empty. And he just has such a sense of entitlement. He thinks he owns that whole side of the block. There was another person living there, and I believe he chased them off as well. So, yeah, Renda was getting real triggered with the Dirty John stuff. She was sitting there holding her teddy bear. And I was so triggered it was hard to relax and snuggle up. But another thing that really helps me, as Jilligan says, is hot tubbing. The guy said, well, you don't belong here. I'm like, I've got these 3 things that they're like little windmill things. They're beautiful. They go around in circles. And I've got lights around the fence, and I've got a palm tree, and I got lights on the palm tree, and I got a hot tub, and I got a hammock, and I got lawn furniture where you lay out on. It's like heaven on earth. Got a big patio, and it's just lovely. And the other day, Renda said, we're lucky. And I said, we're not lucky. We busted our ass, is what I said. And we fought and whipped a whole bunch of mean motherfuckers to get where we are. And that's what you got to do in life. You got to work hard. You got to have a vision. You got to develop your sense of self. And every once in a while, you need to go to war with a mean motherfucker, take them down. And sometimes you take them down by walking away or ignoring them. And other times you beat them in court. And other times, you deal with them in other ways. Every situation's different. But I don't feel that dread anymore, I'll tell you that much. I really don't. So, Strato Harry too says she sees enmeshment in society, especially in the workplace. Music 3 says prayer works. Tell you what, I spent a lot of time praying when it was my darkest hour. Small Bunny, how do you know when to fight a narcissist or walk away? You almost always walk away, but sometimes they provoke a fight, and if they start it, you got to finish it. My wife isn't going to like me saying this, but we had a narcissist from her past tried to sue us, and we took him to court and cleaned his clock. So that was one way of dealing with that knucklehead. With one of my former narcissists, we just ignored. She wanted us to fight her back because that would put her on the map. A lot of people still don't know who she is. So, we just walked away, and she wasn't worth mentioning. So, what time is it? 9:30. So we got a few more minutes. I was tired. I was powerful tired. Y'all like John Grisham? I love John Grisham, and I've been listening to a lot of his old books, and just joyful, just really understanding it. Jennifer says, feels like it's been going to be a lifetime for my healing. Only fully aware now, and I've been standing on my head with PTSD for as long as I can remember. It is. It's a lifelong process. But look at it like this. Our recovery, it isn't some heavy burden where we're carrying our cross. It's an adventure. Your recovery is an adventure. Who knows what's going to happen next? I didn't know that I'd get to move to South Carolina. You know what's cool? It's like I get crushed within an inch of my life, experience more pain than I knew I could possibly handle or existed. My hands would shake. I would have horrible panic attacks. I lost 53 pounds because I couldn't eat. I couldn't work. I had constant cognitive dissonance. My finances were destroyed. But then I started making YouTube videos about my experience and just talking from my heart about what I experienced. And the next thing you know, we're at 4 million views. And the thing that almost destroyed me has given me power and wisdom to help people all over the world. This woman, what she did to me, what I allowed her to do, the best thing that ever happened to my career too. Best thing that ever happened to my healing, best thing that ever happened to my career. And I'm sure her life is an absolute disaster if she's even still alive. And I've turned lemons into lemonade that taste heavenly. So I'm chair dancing now. That wasn't very good chair dancing, by the way. Gilligan says, hells yeah. Are the dogs begging for chicken, honey? My wife makes chicken. She's got this air fryer thing. You're gonna have to re-give me the questions because I can't stay up with them. Can you resend the questions before we end? She's got this air fryer thing, and she puts food in there, meat in there, and I swear to God, it comes out better than any restaurant. Whether it's chicken or pork, it's like delicious and moist and perfectly cooked. So, where the questions? Can you resend the questions? I don't see the questions. Sharon says question. Okay, here's a question. Anonymous. When you were knocked down that bad, how did you find the strength to grit your teeth and drag yourself to do all those things? Because you feel like shit, don't you? I don't know. I cried a lot. I had Renda. Every day she would wipe my tears. She would cook me dinner and help me function and wipe my tears. And I just kept gaining more and more insight. And the first couple of years, I spent a lot of time, struggling with suicidal thoughts and not having any money and being disrespected in my community as a therapist, even though I'm probably the best therapist in the whole damn town. I'll tell you that much. You just put one foot in front of another and you just do what you got to do for that day. In the 12-step work, they say it's just take one day at a time. I get up one day and I could barely function. My brain was fuzzy. If I got one thing done, that was a good day. Now, my brain is so crisp and focused. I get 50 things done. And life is just getting better and better, but it just comes down to, you got to have a lot of fight in you. And there was no way in hell I was going to let some Arkansas hillbilly sex addict narcissist cause me to be destroyed. No way in hell. Wasn't going to happen. I was going to fight back and I was going to get blessed. And boy, it takes a long time, but it's certainly possible. Certainly possible. Regina's been going to therapy since 1992. I've been going to therapy since 1985. Jackie says her big 60 is arriving this year. 60's young. Sharon Kelly, how should I handle the narcissist ex and his flying monkey family at my daughter's wedding? Ignore them. If you can't uninvite them, ignore them. Be amicable. if they walk in, say hello, but just have joy and don't let them ruin the day. Have there be like a bubble of joy and happiness around you. Music 3, I love all y'all on this path. Jackie wants to get her an air fryer. Honey Sharon has a question. Well, where's it at? I don't see it. Honey Sharon. It's hard to keep up with questions with all these comments coming in. Gilligan has a question. Should I stay here to help my mother as she ages or go ahead and move? Can't answer that. I don't know you and I don't know your mother. Small Bunny, how do you know when to fight a narcissist or walk away? I answered that one. Well, I'm sorry if I've missed your question. I'm doing the best that I can, trying to keep up with your question. Does somebody want to resend that question? Sharon, I think he's behind in comments. Anonymous says, when you have a fuzzy brain, that's her. She can't get shit done. My wife will tell you, I'd sit at my desk and I'd try to get something done, and then there'd be some kind of technical issue with the computer. I'd sit there and wrestle with it. 3 hours later, I still didn't get nothing done. And then I'd get frustrated to go take a nap. Small Bunny says Instagram is her therapy and they have so many good threads out there. Well, I still can't find that question. Okay, so if somebody wants to send me that question, I'll look at it real quick. Ginger asks, how are Mr. Polly and Zara? Mr. Polly's doing good. He gets through an airport really good. I brought him on lots of flights, and they're both just wonderful dogs, sweet dogs. New Eyes says, your recovery is an adventure. That's great. All of our recoveries are an adventure. Who knew that life would be this way? I didn't think I'd ever get divorced. I got divorced when I was, what was it? After 27 years of marriage. I got divorced in 2008. I never thought I'd get divorced. I never thought I would be harmed by somebody so bad, from not the woman I got divorced from. She's wonderful. Here's a question. Okay, I already answered that one. All right. So it's about time to wind down. What kind of dog is Mr. Polly? He's a lemon beagle. And he's a sweetheart. One of my very best friends. Okay, so I hope that you guys got some inspiration. I hope you got some fire in your belly. I hope you got a few chuckles. I hope you got some insight. And take that with you in your journey. One of the most fun things in this work is to be able to share your story and help other people. And to be able to not only exhibit shattering and woundedness and tears, but also exhibit joy and pain and victory and thriving. So anyway, thank you for watching tonight. Remember, I've got some books on familytreecounseling.com. Got a real good book on abandonment issues, good book on shame,